Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on to our next presentation. It is titled Sri Lanka's Defense Relations with Pakistan Post-LTTE Conflict. The presenter is Mr. Arshad Cassim. Mr. Cassim is a postgraduate student at KDU, this university, and is following his MSc in Security and Strategic Studies. He also has a postgraduate diploma in International Relations from the Bandaranaike Center for International Studies. His research interests include geopolitics and Central Asia. Although an ardent international relations scholar, he pursued his undergraduate studies in the information technology stream. At present, he works as an IT systems analyst for the US-based software development organization. Arshad.
Honorable Chair, the Vice Chancellor, foreign dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I can safely say good morning. I take it a great privilege to have got this opportunity to do a presentation at this august forum. So my topic today is Sri Lanka's defense relations with Pakistan. I'll be taking a case study approach. Before I begin, take a look at this image. Now, in international relations, photos and statements make a lot of impact. So, what do you see? I hope it's clear. To me, this photo sums up the entirety of Sri Lanka's defense relations with Pakistan. Now, this photo was taken at the Pakistan Defense Day celebrated in Colombo last year. And on to your left, you can see the High Commissioner, the former Navy Commander, Chief of Defense Staff, the Army Commander, and the Pakistan Defense Advisor. So this tells a lot about the Sri Lanka's relations with Pakistan. Next, this is the second thing I'm going to highlight. So the case study will basically take the these two will set the tone for my analysis of this bilateral relations, in defense relations. This is, now the General Ziaul Haq, Pakistan President, visited Sri Lanka in 1985, and he had the General Cyril Ranatunga. He had a meeting with General Ziaul Haq about obtaining military assistance to quell terrorism. In his discussion, this is written in his autobiography, in his discussion with the president says, General Ranatunga says, I was inquisitive to know the time gap between such a request and delivery in relation to his request. He clasped my hands and gave me his personal telephone numbers and asked me to ring him any time of the day. He assured me that the delay will only be the time to load and the flight time from Pakistan to Sri Lanka. Now, when you read between the lines, now, the statements talk volumes about the bilateral relationship. What does it say? Now, this goes to show the decision-making and the political structure and the relationship they had with the Sri Lankan authorities. It says a lot. Military culture. Now, these are the antecedents. What are the bases of the relationship? Now, Pakistan has traditionally been the people they have a strategic culture geared to fighting. The strategic culture have been shaped by millennia of fighting against aggressors. Now, if you look at the past president, there have been 4 generals, from General Ayub Khan to Pervez Musharraf. So the culture, the strategic culture is shaped by the military-centric the culture. So why I'm telling this is because this will help you to understand my analysis today. There are 2 perspectives. When you talk about Sri Lanka's defense relations with Pakistan, it has 2 facets. One is Pakistan as an important ally to Sri Lanka. We all know Pakistan was a key arms supply, and a lot of officers had training in Pakistan. The second aspect is the defense relations between the two countries act as a determinant of the bilateral relationship as a whole. So the point is, defense relations is a core. When you talk about bilateral relationship, you can talk about economic relationship, cultural, political, defense and all. But when you talk about Sri Lanka and Pakistan, all have been shaped by and all revolve around defense relationship, the understanding. So now you see the flow of events. Another interesting point, why I want to highlight this defense relations as a determinant of bilateral relationship. Even economy. Now, there's a good example is recently Sri Lanka decided to purchase Toyota cars, 100 Toyota cars from Pakistan. It's the Pakistan manufactured ones. Actually, the engine is manufactured in Japan. All the rest of the body and the chassis are manufactured in Pakistan. So this deal was mainly possible due to the understanding and the relationship that existed in the establishment. So we can see how military, the defense relationship leveraging trade. Now the highlight. Now we often hear, when you talk about Sri Lanka's relation with Pakistan, we often hear friendship, mutual understanding, trust and so on. So most of your work, the officers, you must have been in Pakistan, you must have undergone the training in Pakistan. So I'm sure you all share the same notion. And why is it? Why it happens so? When you look at the timeline of events, I think the event that shaped, now when you talk about international relations, events also matter. The main event that set the tone for this, or set the foundation of this bilateral relations, is the Indo-Pakistan War in 1971, where Sri Lankan government allowed overflight permission and refueling facilities to West Pakistan aircraft. Even though that act didn't have any significant impact or didn't contribute to the outcome of the war, the Pakistanis take it as a symbolic gesture. They take it, they look at very high at it. Why? Because Sri Lanka was a non-allied country, and it's a small country next to India, and we are making a major gamble when we decided to allow overflight permission, because India is our next door neighbor, and with whom Pakistan is having this confrontation. So that the confidence with which the Sri Lankan government dealt at that time was a major event. That had a cascading effect also to all the subsequent events. Next, the LTTE conflict. That basically solidified the relationship which was started at that time, because we due to geopolitical reasons, we had arms, difficulty in obtaining arms and weaponry, and China and Pakistan were two key suppliers. And in addition to that, we have many military officers underwent training in Pakistan. Now, the importance of training, because when you talk about these bilateral issues, defense partnerships, what matters is individuals. So the importance of training is, the more you, now every year a new batch goes, and the outgoing batch comes to Sri Lanka, and you have this understanding running ad infinitum. It's a loop. So at any given point, there is at least 10 people who have been there and who knows what is happening. So this understanding comes as a result of the military training and this practice, the culture. And we all know the assistance we got during the Elephant Pass, the debacle, the rocket launchers, and the transaction. At that time, the Army commander was General Veera Surya, and he was a personal friend of the then President General Musharraf. Even though this was a presidential request, the personal relationship had a great impact. It acted as a lubricant to make it, to expedite it. Now, next point I'm going to talk about is IR perspective. when you look at the bilateral relationship in an IR perspective, I found this interesting image of the yin-yang, how interplay between idealism and realism. When Satish spoke about idealism and realism, when you look at the interactions, the activities that had taken place, it all translates to idealism, cooperation, track 2, diplomacy, understanding, and so on, but with a hint of realism. Why was it possible? Now that is interesting. Now we are living in a unipolar world, multipolar world, depending on your perspective, and world is anyway, people tend to prefer realism when they dissect international relations. How was it possible? Geopolitics. Now when I actually saw Professor Hennayak was going to chair this event, I wanted to add some geopolitics into the presentation because he's an eminent scholar. So let me talk about geopolitics for a few minutes. Actually, I was asked to reduce the time because of time constraints. So if you look at Sri Lanka is a small state sitting just south of India. It's a non-aligned country. And if you look at India, that is the determinant, the regional determinant factor. We can't forget about India when we do anything. We can't forget about India because that is the focus. And also, what enables Sri Lanka and Pakistan to engage in idealistic paradigm, because we don't share anything. It's contradictory in terms. We don't have any common factors vital to each other. We don't share the common border, common population, or anything. Only thing we share is Indian sphere of influence. Both of the countries fall within the Indian sphere of influence. So that is another factor that propelled both countries to get into a harmonious relationship. But we should not we should not antagonize India in engaging the defense relationship. Indian factor has been so crucial that it has been the main reason, the determinant as to what kind of relationship, what to purchase, how it should be, and to what extent, and so on. For instance, if Sri Lanka and Pakistan engage in nuclear partnership or significant naval exercises, that would definitely ruffle Indian feathers. So when you look at Sri Lanka's engagement with Pakistan from 70s or from 60s, it's a good exercise when you analyze the way they have managed this triangle. And before I conclude, I'd like to introduce the Sino-Indian rivalry, because post-LTTE and the changing landscapes, how it will affect Sri Lanka's defense relations with Pakistan because of the Chinese influence to the Indian Ocean and the Indian interest in the region. So I'll leave you there with something to ponder, and thanks a lot for your attention.